to turn your cameras on. At this point in the webinar, if you could just keep your mics muted at this time, and then there will be some time if you wanted to share some thoughts or ask questions, you can definitely unmute your mic and speak away. So welcome to Health Promotion's Wellness Wednesday webinar titled Follow the Leader. My name is Jackie Lesarge, Health Promotion Specialist, here with your local health promotion team, part of PSP, and we also fall under that CFMWS umbrella. So today we are going to talk about leadership in the context of being a leader within the Canadian Armed Forces as a supervisor or a peer. However, the points today can be applicable taking on that leadership role as a parent, a coach, teacher, student, etc. As we enter a new season with new team or unit members, or perhaps you may be new to a unit, base, wing, or city, and perhaps you would like to reflect on your current leadership qualities and skills and identify where you want to continue doing well and where you would like to grow as a leader, whether it be amongst your peers or as a supervisor. So today we're going to discuss what some of those qualities and skills are that can enhance one's leadership style. And we'll talk about ways in which we can help ourselves learn those skills. So I'm going to give the mic over to Jeremy, fellow health promotion specialist, as he talks about our Wellness Wednesday webinar sponsor and prizes for September.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we are sponsored by Black Bear Gear. So all our Wellness Wednesday webinars will have a live draw at the end for eligible winners. Jackie, can I ask you to mute yourself? Thank you. And so eligible winners include all our military members, military families, so the entire military community, as well as D&D staff, so and veterans as well. So eligible participants include these, and this week the live draw, and every week as well, is this Black Bear Gear tactical pen that has many different features on it. Really cool prize, and this is a live draw that we do at the end of the webinar. And then every week when you tune into our Wellness Wednesday webinar, you are automatically entered into the monthly grand prize, which include what we see here on the right. So the medical bleeding control kit, the individual first aid pouch, some tactical holster, a t-shirt, a retractable tether, sorry, and also some trauma shears. So this is our monthly grand prize that is again sponsored by Black Bear Gear. And every week when you tune in, you're automatically entered this grand prize, and we will contact you when the winner is selected. So best of luck to everyone.
Thanks, Jer. So if you are interested in the tactical pen and you are eligible, please just put your name in the chat and we'll enter you into that live prize draw for after the webinar. Jeremy will be keeping track and he will facilitate that draw at the end. Thanks, Jer. So before we get started, just a couple points I wanted to review. The presentation you're about to view is property of D&D, and any reproduction of the slides in this presentation is forbidden. Let's try and maintain some confidentiality within the webinar, so understand that people's stories are theirs alone to tell, and anything that is shared within this webinar today is not to be discussed outside of the webinar. And this webinar is also being recorded, and it will be loaded onto CAF Connection for viewing after for those folks who weren't able to join us live this morning. So let's start with this question. What are the qualities of a great leader? So to ensure that we can, I'm going to use a tool here, so bear with me. I'm going to share my screen to share a virtual flip chart. And that way we can see each other's answers Can everyone see the whiteboard?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let me try this one more time. Here we go. All right, you know what, everyone? I tried and failed. So what I'm going to do is go back to my PowerPoint. I'll just need to practice that a little bit more, I guess. And I'm going to invite you in the chat to identify some qualities of a great leader. What do you think? This could be someone that has led you in the past. Think of that person and the qualities they possessed. This could be yourself. This could be a current leader or supervisor that you currently have. So we have knowledgeable, confident, someone who's flexible, adaptable, someone who's self-aware, someone who's a rock star, Lori says, of course. Active listening, so someone who's able to listen actively to others. Got a couple of those in there. Yes, that's a very important quality for sure. What else do you think? Open to feedback. Yeah, someone who's approachable and willing to hear and receive feedback, whether it be positive or constructive. We have trustworthy, approachable, encourages staff to believe in themselves. Wonderful. That's a pretty super duper leader we have there. Really great responses. Thanks for participating in that. So a lot of great qualities that identify a super leadership style. So how can we take those qualities that we mentioned, such as being knowledgeable, approachable, open to feedback, an active listener, and how can we take those qualities and how does it contribute to a great leadership style? Feel free to throw some thoughts there in the chat. What does that look like? So if a leader was knowledgeable, how does that contribute to great leadership? Or how can that be contributed to a great leader? People feel respected. There's an element of trust associated with the relationship. Feeling like new initiatives are being supported. Very good. People believe they will be guided in the correct direction. Yes, absolutely. Having that guidance and direction can be so helpful. Anything else you can think of? You know you can reach out. Yeah, again, you know that someone is approachable, that they care, that they have that knowledge. Maybe that knowledge of resources or how to help and guide someone. If you have a question or if you are struggling, sharing knowledge is important, though. You don't want to be the leader holding the caramel secret. That's right. Very good. The vision is there to help individuals in the organization move in the right direction with input from the team. Absolutely. Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks everyone for your input there. And these just speak to some of the points that I am going to review with you when it comes to contributing to that super leadership style so that others can be led to be strong and confident role models within the Canadian Armed Forces specifically. But these points are not the be all end all of superior, wonderful leadership. These are just some points that I'm going to go through, and some were already spoken to that within the chat this morning. So number one is know the facts, and that connects with that knowledge piece and being knowledgeable. Educate yourself as a leader. Create a wealth of knowledge that you can pass on to those who look up to you, consistently building on knowledge, skills, and resources for your specific trade, your job, or your role can help you better help others. And it's also very influential in the sense that it motivates others to do the same as well. Even building on some skills and knowledge outside of your specific trade or job can help create that well-rounded wealth of knowledge that others can look up to. For example, taking health promotion courses such as like Stress Take Charge to learn about different stress management strategies and relaxation strategies, Intercom to work on those communication skills such as active listening, or mental fitness and suicide awareness to learn about recognizing those signs and behaviors of someone who may be in distress and learning how to best support them. Health promotion courses, we also really dive into those resources available for CAF members and their families to access, and knowing what those resources are that are available to yourself and your team and your staff can help you best support. So Jeremy's going to throw just in the chat there the link to the health promotion page of all of the core programs that can help build on your knowledge to best support your team. Being aware of own attitudes and behaviors is another big one. And this was also mentioned in the chat. Someone mentioned being self-aware, because we've all grown up with those prejudices and judgmental ways of thinking, which are reinforced through society, friends, and media as well. So being aware of how our attitudes and belief systems and thoughts can influence our behaviors is key. So we can open our minds a little more to try to better understand and help others. We are all so different, and instead of judging and discriminating against those differences, we can sit back and reflect on trying to better understand those differences. Great leaders know themselves well and are willing to adapt and improve in areas that need improving. This is not to say you have to change who you are or what you believe in. It is more of a process of examining why you hold those beliefs and reframing your thought process a little to try to better understand others. Paying attention to language falls into that self-awareness piece as well, choosing your words carefully, and choosing accurate and sensitive language, because the way we speak can really influence how others think and speak. Educating others, find opportunities to pass on facts and educate others in your care. Again, that knowledge piece brings forth a more knowledgeable and powerful team. Allowing for members and staff to participate in educational workshops to enhance their own skills and motivation is key. And taking those workshops with your staff could be quite influential as well. Focus on the positive. A great leader knows how to focus on one's strengths and positive attributes while also helping support and care for one's struggles. We all have our strengths and we all have areas that need improvement. A true leader understands this and remains open-minded and ever willing to adjust and reinvent themselves as required. Support people. If you notice one is struggling, whether it is job-related, personal, family, etc., think about how you would like to be treated if you were in their shoes. Ask how you can best help to support them. What do they need from you? Have empathy, listen, and try to understand. True leaders are often quiet. They ask questions, they listen, they observe. And listening, as was mentioned in the chat, that is a skill, and it requires practice and it requires patience. And it's more important than asking the right questions or any other leadership skill, really, because great leaders pay attention to what others are saying and doing, and they make note of what needs to be done, and then they set about doing it. Include everyone. So create an environment of inclusivity, where regardless of skill level, culture, personal struggle, experiences, ethnicity, background, trade, age, rank, just ensure all feel welcome, respected, and valued. Inclusivity brings people together, and it is an opportunity to learn from each other and build on not only job skills, but morale and cohesion, which builds a stronger, more productive unit and team. For example, because one may be struggling with their mental fitness, continue to include them on tasks that they would normally do when they were feeling well, even if you feel that it may be too much for them. It may be just what they need. And this shows that you still have the confidence in them and they feel valued. This leads to motivation for them to continue to work on their personal struggles, whereas isolation from previous tasks could result in the exact opposite. Increase access to resources and support. First, know the resources that are available to yourself and your team. As a leader in the CAF or anywhere for that matter, you are in a position to help decrease the stigma by making it easier for your staff to access the support from healthcare services. When you create that environment where it's okay to reach out for help, you demonstrate that you are taking them seriously and are supportive. This can also build trust in leadership. When there is trust, it can build one's motivation, devotion, and enhanced work ethic and productivity on the job. Respect MELs, and that refers to medical employment limitations. Also check in and follow up kind of connects with that one as well. If someone is going through treatment, taking care of themselves, trying to get to a better place, to improve their mental fitness, you can support them by respecting their employment limitations, if any. If unsure how to best support, what can you do? You can ask. Stay connected with the individual and the healthcare resources to best support. Follow up and check in. How are you doing? Ask them for direction. It shows your confidence in them that they know what is best for them. What do you need? How can I help? This constant connection also helps decrease that stigma around seeking help. Zero tolerance for inappropriate behaviors, because workplace culture and attitudes impact others. Treating all with dignity and respect establishes trust and good communication. Shutting down inappropriate behaviors such as bullying, inappropriate jokes, violence, or aggressive behaviors, whether verbal, emotional, or physical, is so important. Respect privacy and confidentiality, and that establishes that trust that was talked about earlier. Shows you are serious about maintaining that trust in that professional relationship. And lastly, be a role model. Demonstrate all of these points, make them visible. They have to be visible to be effective, so all can see the great leader you are. Model your strengths and your weaknesses or areas of improvement. Demonstrate how you take action in order to do better or get help when you are struggling. True leaders are quick to give credit and praise to others when it's due and remain humble enough to recognize and admit when they're wrong as well. Being a great leader doesn't mean you have superpowers. You're human like everyone else. So don't be afraid to show that you are human and that you have challenges. Communicating your experiences and how you dealt with them motivates others to do the same. I'm going to take a quick little break and Jeremy's going to come back just to talk about what's coming up in HP.
So if you weren't aware, HP is back in person, and one of our main programs, Respecting the CAF, is a new and improved version, as it was revamped by the Sexual Misconduct Response Center, so the ones involved in creating this program. So they revamped it since the whole situation with Operation Honor. So now it's new and improved, and it's back in action in person. And for us here in Kingston, upcoming dates are 28th of September and the 14th of October. And then Jackie, if you can switch slides to the next one. Thank you. And also back in person is our Reset program. So this is a over-encompassing program that we've created here locally that is really gives you a bit of information on everything that HP can offer, and also just very just some really covers everything that someone would want to focus on if they're looking at at improving their own personal health and well-being. So here it is a 6-week program where you would come in It's an hour each session, and this different topics include resilience. So here you're looking at different coping strategies, and then we have exercise selection. So here looking more at some injury risk strategies, then some stress management, some sleep strategies, some healthy eating tips, and finally some time management strategies as well. So this is an hour each. They are starting September 17th, and they are all standalone. So if there's one that you couldn't make, or maybe there's only a few that you're interested in, you can attend the ones that you want. However, we do encourage that you attend all of them, as there is there's benefits to learning a bit more about all these topics. So that is starting September 17th, and again in person at the base gym from 11 to 12.
Awesome. Thanks, Jer. And we will share the registration link in the chat if you are interested in registering for any of those programs coming up. So one of my faves, leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. And this is a quote by Simon Sinek, who is an author and motivational speaker. And I have a video that I would like to share with you today. And you get to hear Simon Sinek speak on leadership and what it means to be a great leader. So what I'm going to do is, before I go to that video, I am going to just make sure that I have the audio on here. And I do. And now I am going to go to the video. It's just a 3-minute video. And Simon Sinek will be speaking to leader versus manager.
There are two things that I think that great leaders need to have: empathy and perspective. And I think these things are very often forgotten. Leaders are so often so concerned about their status or their position in an organization, they actually forget their real job. And the real job of a leader is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in our charge. And I don't think people realize this, and I don't think people train for this. When we're junior, our only responsibility is to be good at our jobs. That's all we really have to do. And some people actually go get advanced educations so that they can be really good at their jobs, accountants or whatever, right? And you show up and you work hard, and the company will give us tons and tons of training how to do our jobs. They'll show us how to use the software. They'll send us away for a few days to get trained in whatever it is that we're doing for the company. And then they expect us to go be good at our jobs. And that's what we do. We work very hard. And if you're good at your job, they'll promote you. And at some point, you'll get promoted to a position where we're now responsible for the people who do the job we used to do, but nobody shows us how to do that. And that's why we get managers and not leaders. Because the reason our managers are micromanaging us is because they actually do know how to do the job better than us. That's what got them promoted. Really what we have to do is go through a transition. Some people make it quickly, some people make it slowly, and unfortunately, some people will never make that transition at all. Which is, we have to go through this transition of being responsible for the job and then turning into somebody who's now responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. And as I said before, one of the great things that is lacking in most of our companies is that they are not teaching us how to lead. And leadership is a skill like any other. It is a practicable, learnable skill. And it is something that you work on. It's like a muscle. If you practice it all the days, you will get good at it and you will become a strong leader. If you stop practicing, you will become a weak leader. Like parenting, everyone has the capacity to be a parent. Doesn't mean everybody wants to be a parent, and doesn't mean everybody should be a parent. Leadership is the same. We all have the capacity to be a leader. Doesn't mean everybody should be a leader, and it doesn't mean everybody wants to be a leader. And the reason is because it comes at great personal sacrifice. Remember, you're not in charge, you're responsible for those in your charge. That means things like when everything goes right, you have to give away all the credit. And when everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility. That sucks, right? It's things like staying late to show somebody what to do. It's things like when something does actually break, when something goes wrong, instead of yelling and screaming and taking over, you say, try again. When the overwhelming pressures are not on them, the overwhelming pressures are on us. At the end of the day, great leaders are not responsible for the job. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. They're not even responsible for the results. I love talking to CEOs and say, what's your priority? And they put their hands on their hips all proudly and say, my priority is my customer. I'm like, really? You haven't talked to a customer in 15 years. There's no CEO on the planet responsible for the customer. They're just not. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the people who are responsible for the customer.
So I really love that clip from Simon. We're on a first name basis here, just kidding. But I think it just really resonates. And I mean, I think we can take some of what he says and definitely apply it to leadership within the Canadian Armed Forces. Love the whole transition. Leadership is a transition and it's a skill. And we all know that. And everyone has the capacity to lead, but we have to practice and we have to build on those leadership qualities and skills in order to be a strong leader. Here's another kind of quote that Simon Sinek had mentioned, and it's kind of, he mentioned this in the video a bit, but just to reinstate it or reinforce this point that he made in the video. True leaders accept the privileges that come with positions of elevated power and status, but they're also willing to make the necessary sacrifices and are generous with their time, their resources, and power to keep their team or their organization or family safe in times of struggle. So on that note, what I did want to do was provide a link to our resources page on CAF Connection. We do have a page loaded with several resources available to CAF members and their families on our health promotion page. Jeremy's going to share that link in the chat. And being familiar, again, with all of those resources available to yourself and your team is so important. So check that out. We have our key resource card, our purple cards that we send out. I can't speak today. I can't find the words, but we send out to the CAF community here on base. And so you've probably seen it, but you can get more on our website. We also have posters that you can access that you can put in your office or within your unit for all members to see and refer to. And health promotion is always a great resource too if you want to find a resource. So you can always check in with us. Right now, the best way to probably connect with us is through email, healthpromotionkingston@cfmws. And just a last quote from Simon Sinek before we get into our draw is, leadership is not a rank. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a decision. It's a choice. And if you decide to look after the person to the right of you and the person to the left of you, you are a leader. So now what everyone's been waiting for. Do I not have that slide up? It's okay. We'll get to the live prize draw.
So unfortunately, there was no one eligible or interested in the live draw. So for this week, we will have to pass on that. However, for everyone who joined in today, who may not be eligible for the prize draw, some of you would be eligible for the monthly grand prize. So your name will be automatically entered into that grand prize, and you might be hearing from us in a few weeks if you win. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and hope to see you next week. Next week is
We have Rachel next week, and you can access the webinar registration through the registration link that was shared earlier, or you can feel free to just join right at 9 o'clock next Wednesday to check it out. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.